Greetings, fellow Watford fans. Omar here with another Orns 10-minute take on Watford nil, Leeds 3. Well, what is there to say about this performance by Watford? Abysmal, shocking, disgraceful, pathetic, on the beach, couldn't care less, gone at the end of the season. You know what the best word to say about this performance is? Championship. Because that is where Watford Football Club will be heading at the end of this season. It's the first time I'm saying it here on this YouTube channel, and many Watford fans have been saying this for months, but now I join them. With 7 more games to play now, there is no chance that Watford, well, there is 99.9% no chance that Watford will stay in the Premier League. They will be heading to the Championship now. There is, in my view now, no doubt about it. And while I honestly, and by the way, reasonably believed that this team had the stomach and had the fight in them to stay in this Premier League, what I saw today at the Vic from afar, and some of you were in your seats up close and personal, has convinced me that they are down. Why even play these next 7 games? Because what we saw today was beach material. They were not interested, not nearly interested enough. So many of these Watford players let themselves down, let the club down, let the shirt down, let the fans down, especially the fans down, with a couldn't care less performance against Leeds United, a team that we had to beat in order to have any possibility of staying in this division. And now, coupled with the Everton win against Manchester United, a crucial Everton win at Goodison Park earlier today, that opportunity to close ground or at least keep pace with Everton as the team above the dotted line in 17th place has gone. This team today did not do what a team fighting against relegation must do, and that is play well enough to get the result and win the game. And they did not do any of that. There was a spell in the second half where Watford looked like they were up for it, but the players in the end did not do nearly enough, and they just are not good enough. As many Watford fans have been saying now for a long time, they're just not good enough. They don't have the stomach for the fight, and they are too busy thinking about their paychecks and too busy thinking about their next destination in their footballing career. And that is the way of footballers generally anyway. And there's so many people now who don't even put a name on the back of the shirt they buy because they know that the vast majority of these players are going to be off. Very rarely do you have a one-club man anymore in football, and maybe Harry Kane is one of the very few exceptions to that rule that satisfies that rule, that proves the rule that there really aren't any one-club men in football anymore. But aside from Harry Kane and maybe 1 or 2 others, you just don't have that anymore. Turnover is likely to happen. Managers are going to be gone. And Roy Hodgson will be gone, no doubt, at the end of this season. In fact, that's all he was signed up for till the end of June. Really, they really should just say goodnight to him now. And Watford should say goodnight to their Premier League season because they have absolutely tossed it away in a performance where they didn't close down Leeds. They gave Leeds far too much space. They let Leeds come on to them. They were far too content to let Leeds dawdle with the ball. Not nearly enough tackles were going in against these Leeds players. And it was only after Leeds took a 1-0 lead, thanks to a mistake from Samir in the defense, nonchalantly kicking the ball away as if it was summer league football or schoolboy football. It was only after Leeds took that lead through Rafinha after 21 minutes that Watford, in the second half at least, started to show some signs of life. But by then it had been far too late because really Watford were essentially down 4-0 before they were even down 2-0 because they didn't give a monkeys. They really didn't give anything to the cause today. You had a packed Vicarage Road. They were all up for it. You had a fan base that was bursting at the seams to finally celebrate a win at the Vic. It's not been since November that Watford have won at home, and on the back of this performance today against, well, they could have been playing at Elland Road. They might have played better, but they still lost both of the games against Leeds this season. But off the back of this game, nothing shows me at all that they are going to have any different kind of result next weekend at the Vic against Brentford. In fact, I think now, if you look at this game coming up against Brentford next Saturday and the ones coming up after that in the home games, I don't know if Watford are going to get another win. I really don't. Burnley, do you think Burnley will take Watford on and beat them? This has been a nightmarish day, but it's been a nightmarish season. And Watford showed no desire or heart to get at it today when they should have been at this Leeds side from the off. A Leeds side, by the way, who were horrible defensively for much of this game. They were awful. They were absolutely awful. I saw Jesse Marsh standing over there on the sideline. He was absolutely screaming at his Leeds players, screaming at them, because he knew they were horrible defensively, especially in that first half. And yet Watford still couldn't take any advantage at all. No shots on target in the first half. They did not trouble the Leeds goalkeeper, Illan Meslier, one jot. It was a complete holiday off for him. It may have been Cliff. It may as well have been Cliff Richards. We're all going on a summer holiday. It was a total summer holiday for Illan Meslier in that Leeds goal. He had nothing to do the whole game. And when in the second half, as I said, Sarr had an opportunity, what do they do? Blast the ball. That is not what you need to do in that situation. You score there, it's 1-1. You have to calmly drive the ball home and finish off that chance. Didn't help matters that Cucho had to be subbed off in the first half because of a tight hamstring. And who knows if he will play the game next weekend against Brentford. Who knows? But certainly looks like a doubt in that situation, but you never know. Maybe the medical staff can get Cucho back in the mix. But there were really today only two players that were up for it. And really, I don't mean this so much as praise as to how appalling and shocking Watford were. And those two players were Kuchka and Sissoko. Uri Kuchka and Musa Sissoko were the only two Watford players today who I thought gave a damn. And they put themselves about. They tried their best. They had energy. They had physicality. They had drive. Both of them were the only two who really did it. João Pedro had his moments, but really that's all. You had two players max, maybe three with João Pedro at the time, who really looked like they were up for this. Roy Hodgson's substitutions were way too late in this game. I did not understand what he was waiting for here. This is your Premier League life. Why wait till the 81st minute to bring Josh King on? As much as I am not a fan of Josh King, you need to score goals. You need to change something. You cannot stay with a team that is so woefully pedestrian as this one was throughout much of this game today at the Vic against Leeds. And instead, what Roy decided to do was stay stubborn and stay pedestrian until it was way too late. Carlu not coming into these games. I don't know why you even bought him. Why did this board spend money to bring in Carlu or got him on a free or whatever they did? I get it. You know, your money situation is what it is, and it's not necessarily the greatest. But my goodness me, can we exercise a level of judiciousness and at least play this young man? Play Carlu, for heaven's sake. For God's sake, man, play the man. Play him. Your Premier League life is flickering away from you, and you're not pulling out all the stops to play these players. Makes no sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to you, fellow Watford fans, but I totally don't see where the logic is in any of this. And this team did not respond. And after that second goal went in, which was a very painful sight to see, Kamara, who has been so good since he's come in January to the SKK group, well, you ever do what he did. And he passed that ball across the defense, across and in front of his goalkeeper to Samir, and it bounces off Samir and, of course, straight into the path of a Leeds player. And you can't gift these teams goals in the Premier League. And Watford have been way too charitable, far too charitable every single week, it seems, in a number of these games, except the ones they win. But they have been, even in those games, some of them, they've been very charitable. But Watford cannot afford to keep doing this because, again, that second goal to me epitomized Watford all season, as did the first, nonchalant, two members of the SKK group just nonchalanting the ball around. You know, you do not pass. I don't know why, for the life of me, Camara did not just kick that ball into the crowd, into those Leeds fans. Instead, no, I'm going to pass it across the runner who's coming in on goal. Why? And that says to me that the team is not good enough. And that says to me that the personnel is not good enough. They're not committed enough. As great as Camara has been, and he's been excellent with the fans, there's no question about it. He has been a real godsend this season. But unfortunately today, he made a mistake that really cost this team. Unfortunately today, Samir, also a godsend, has been excellent since he's coming in January, also making a mistake. And it's kind of apropos, isn't it? That two of the better players on Watford this season were the two players to really undo the team this week. Last week, it was Kuchka. This week, listen, who's it going to be next week? We know this week who it was. But this is a function of when you have a team of players who just aren't good enough. That goes to the recruiting, which we know is horrible and has been for many years. That goes to the decisions that the board is making, which have been horrendous for the most part this season. I think the best thing the board has done is to lower the season ticket prices. I think that's the best thing they've done the entire season. But this is no way to fight for your Premier League lives. And what we saw today was an absolute disgrace to this club and to the fans. Fans are paying their hard-earned money every week. And what we get today, and what we get most weeks, and almost every week, certainly the other 20 different times we have lost this season, is a bunch of players who really aren't trying hard enough and aren't really skilled enough to make the right decisions and to come out with the kind of energy and attitude that is required. The aptitude is not there. The attitude is not there. And the desire is not there. The heart isn't there. You can have many talented players as you like, but if you don't have heart and you don't have spirit and you don't have a little fight in you, it doesn't matter how skilled and talented you are. You're just a bunch of passengers, which is exactly what this football team was today at the Vic. This has been the Orns 10-minute take.